In Lagos, the State House of Assembly confirmed 22 of the 31 nominees sent by the governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, as commissioners. Well, that has been generating loads of reaction since. Well, among those not confirmed are former Commissioner for Information, Mr. Gbenga Omotosho, and also former Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi. The Speaker of the House, who presided over that day's sitting, said the confirmation followed rigorous and detailed screening of the nominees by an ad hoc committee led by the Chief Whip of the House. Well, we have to talk more about this and, the reactions trailing this particular story. Mr. Nelson Ekudrumi, he's a political affairs analyst. He joins me here in Lagos. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Have you seen anything like this, the rejection of 17 nominees sent by a governor to the House?
Well, in Lagos, it's unprecedented, and like you rightly said, it has generated a lot of public concerns that what could have transpired in the House. And as we speak, Lagosians are still asking questions from the State House of Assembly that what is going on, because you look at the caliber of some of these nominees that were not confirmed. You talk about Mr. Gbenga Omotosho, the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, who has, done, tremendously well while in office. You talk about the Professor Akin Abayomi, whom we are all aware of the role he played during the, COVID-19. So Lagosians are asking questions, and we can only hope that the State Assembly will have a rethink, on their decision in collaboration with the executive, so that we can put this behind us and, the will of government can roll up, in full steam.
Looking at some of the reasons given, they're saying the screening was detailed. However, some others have said maybe there was some politicking that went on. We have, for example, someone who alleged that most of them are friends of the governor, and that includes the Commissioner for Health, whom you've just mentioned, and that he's not necessarily, he has no political base. That's been one reason.
Well, anybody in Lagos who must have, participated in the electoral process must be a good friend of the governor, And I don't think that will be a yardstick, for saying somebody cannot be, nominated as a commissioner. There are, several factors that have to be considered. There are several interests that will compete, but by and large, you expect that whether you are a friend of the governor or not, the larger interests of the society, which the governor, aims to drive at, should be the uppermost, considerations for the Assembly Committee. So that is why you look at, if, for example, are you telling me Mr. Gbenga Omotosho is a friend of the governor in view of his performance? Absolutely not. But we expect that in the composition of the Lagos cabinet, as a state of excellence, that the uppermost consideration will be merit, the capacity and the capability of the nominees to deliver, taking into consideration that we're in the era of politics, and you cannot take that away in taking any decision that regards governance.
And this is the governor's last term. But then when you look at all of this, do you think that there was some sort of, when you look at the composition, the diversity of the nominees, was ethnicity taking into consideration, gender as well? Was it all representative?
I believe the list has taken care of this, indices that you have mentioned. But maybe in the wisdom of the legislators, it didn't capture it well enough. Don't forget that the legislator have the responsibility to screen these nominees. And you expect that the legislature, before coming up with their recommendations or this decision, would have interfaced with the executive privately in order to save us, this public hullabaloo about this issue. So with regards to the interest taken care of, I believe strongly that the women were represented. You talk about, other factors like the political considerations. I also believe that that is an issue, that would have been represented, but knowing fully well that in democracy, even if we're in the same party, it doesn't mean we should all sleep and think in the same direction. There's bound to be differences because we all join the political party, to express our own political, desires.
Do you see these differences affecting that relationship, cordial relationship that the executive and legislature should have for the governance of a state?
I think what has happened will be a wake-up call for them to look at, their relationship and see how they can, improve on it. Because what has really, played out is that, all is not well within that relationship. And, in view of the fact that Lagos has no other role to play than, to continue to be the pace setter. And for me, one of the things that has come out from this whole issue is that those who have continued to lampoon the legislature as rubber stamp, I hope they will hit their words now, that, the legislature is affirming its authority. So for me, I think the larger interest of the state should be uppermost in the minds of the legislature.
I want to take you up on something, and this is, the national level. The persons living with disabilities have threatened to sue the president, saying that they were marginalized. In fact, they say the list of not including, one of them in his cabinet is discriminatory.
Well, I wouldn't subscribe to that, because I wouldn't know the premise under which they will be filing that action, because the Nigerian Constitution does not give rights to a particular set of people. The Nigerian Constitution recognizes all Nigerians, no matter your conditions. If they are looking at themselves as people with disabilities, the Nigerian Constitution does not see them that way. The Nigerian Constitution sees them first and foremost as Nigerians who have rights. But they can be rest assured that the administration will not put in place any policy that will infringe on their rights. Even as we speak, we have seen government agencies come up with policies, that promote the rights of people with disabilities. You can see what happened during the elections. It has become part of an electoral process that people with disabilities can easily access the polling stations. They avail some necessary tools to make them also perform their functions. So I don't want to believe that, the people with disabilities are being marginalized. They can be rest assured that any society that wants to develop and, hold its head high in the Committee of Nations treats, or places premium on persons who are vulnerable. And the people with disabilities are one.
Indeed, we'll see how that pans out in the coming days. We'd like to thank you, Mr. Nelson Kujumi, for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.